The time has come. The game is finally coming to an end. And only the Geek Dad Report has all the answers to the questions that are burning like the Lord of Light inside of your chest and face and brain. That's right. We are talking Game of Thrones tonight. The show is finally coming back. We have about a week and 3 days before the Season 8 premiere, before the whole thing comes to a crashing end. And we thought it would be pretty awesome if we shared all the things that we have uncovered in our vast studies.
Yes, because we went to the Citadel.
Yes.
We cleaned out chamber pots.
Yes.
Very long montage of disgusting chamber pots. And
we cut off some grayscale.
Yeah, we maybe cut some people up that had grayscale and like locked some maesters into like rooms and like stole their books. So we know everything that you need to know.
We have studied and we have uncovered the truth of who will live, who will die, and who will reign supreme on the Iron Throne. I, as always, am the prince that was promised, Brian.
And I am Ryan, the King of the North.
You will kneel before me, Ryan.
Yes. I don't know about that.
All right. Well, if you haven't already guessed it,
I do know one thing.
You will bend the knee. That's what you know.
That if you are a Game of Thrones fan, you will not be knowing anything from the last two books before the season ends because HBO has destroyed everything about the books.
Okay, I'm not going to say this isn't a discussion about the books. We are going to be talking about the books as well tonight. Honestly, I want to give full spoiler alert. We are going to be spoiling everything up into this point.
Everything possible.
Everything up to Season 8. We're going to be talking about book stuff. We're going to be talking about the show. We're going to be talking about rampant theories. So if you have not watched Game of Thrones, this is not a safe place for you. You will just ruin everything. If you're like, oh, I'm going to wait and I'm going to watch it later, you can watch, but watch at your own risk. We are going to be talking about everything on this show tonight.
Off the top of the wall. And hoping that you survive on all the way down because
yes.
We know we're going to be talking about everything.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about so much stuff here. This is not a recap of all the seasons, so if you're looking for that, just talk to us offline. But we're going to be talking about some of the things, but mostly we're going to be doing a lot of predictions on this show. We're going to talk about what we think is going to happen to the characters, what we think is happening with the storylines. We're going to dive into some stuff that's been on the show, but also in the books. And what we think some of these prophecies mean. And we have a lot of fun things. But full spoilers, like I said, we are going to be talking about it all. So you have been warned. For everybody else, welcome. Me and Ryan are going to be doing a weekly Game of Thrones show. We're going to try and do it Sunday after the episode airs, but we promise no later than Monday nights we'll have it up. But we thought it'd be a super fun thing to do is get us on record before the show kicks off. And like I said, next week on what we think is going to happen. So that way at the end of the season, we can't be like, oh, I knew that was going to happen the whole time. Now we are putting our dragon stones where our mouth is, and we are laying it all out there. We're burying it all for you guys to judge us. Hopefully, mostly just judge Ryan.
That's for sure.
And I have a theory. We may even have a couple theories. I know I have one that nobody else is coming up with that I've been adamant about for the last 2 years.
I know what it is.
So we're going to talk.
I'm not looking at my phone. We had a question as well, but I did put up a question post, and we did have one person respond to it. So I was just making sure we had it up. I'm not ignoring you.
We'll check it again before the show's over, and if any of you guys have questions about Game of Thrones related, we're going to answer them on the show. But first, we thought in sticking with Game of Thrones, 7 is a very important number in the universe of Game of Thrones. There's 7 gods. George has 7 books. And honestly, 7 questions is 7 topics is a nice way to round out this show. So me and Ryan have chosen 7 predictions / questions, topics of discussion.
On the smoking ruins of the Sept of Baelor.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure it's still burning.
It's definitely still burning. There's ashes everywhere.
Yeah.
Cersei, she's the worst. So, so we got 7 things for you guys that we're going to talk about tonight. And first up, you know what? We thought about doing this last, but we decided we are not bearing the lead because by the time we get done talking about everything, by the time we answer this question last, you'll already know our answer. So first up, the big one. Who do Ryan and myself think is going to win the Iron Throne? So Ryan, I will let you go first. We don't need a lot of explanation. Feel free to give a quick one, but who do you think is going to win the Iron Throne?
My prediction is an easy one. It is the one person who has been very consistent throughout the whole show. This person has pretty much just been an unstoppable force. And I don't see that slowing down anytime soon because everybody else is pretty much screwed. I am going to say the Night King.
Oh, you're taking double zeros? Oh, man.
I think, with the way it seems like everything's been going on this show, I have no faith that anyone that I like is ever going to stay alive.
So you were predicting that the Game of Thrones is really a nihilistic story about death coming for us all.
Yep.
All right.
It would not surprise me.
Well, listen, here's the thing. There's no wrong answers in this because the truth of the matter is we don't really know what story George is trying to tell us. And to be honest, I've been racking my brain. You know, I've rewatched all the episodes. I've been deep diving into all these podcasts and the books and stuff. And I still cannot figure out what kind of story George is trying to tell us, right? It's a mixture of so many different classic literatures. Yes, there's Greek mythology. There's Greek tragedies. There's, you know, the hero's journey. There's, you know, a lot of religious elements to this.
Yeah, but then he turned everything on his head and killed every single person that you thought that when it was the story was going to be about them. Nope, that person gone now.
All right, so you think we're going to get a tale of destruction and of just death is coming, so you believe the Night King is going to be on the Iron Throne. All right. Do you want to know who I think is going to be on the Iron Throne, or did you have something else you wanted to add to that?
No, I was just saying, it was just the Night King.
All right. I am going to go with the classic, and I don't think a lot of people actually think this is going to happen, so I might be in the minority on this one. I think Jon Snow. I really do think Jon Snow, a.k.a. Aegon Targaryen, the rightful ruler of the Seven Kingdoms, will in fact become the ruler of the Seven Kingdoms. Will he sit on the Iron Throne for a long time? Well, we're going to talk about that later on, but I do think that he will become the king again of the Seven Kingdoms. I believe this because I've chosen to believe that this tale is the story of, you know, the burden hero.
The story of the Fire and Ice. That is the whole underlying
Well, it's
thing.
the Song of Fire and Ice, which Jon definitely is. You know, he comes from a Targaryen and a Stark. He is in fact fire and ice. But I believe this is going to be, George has said that this ending is bittersweet but fitting. And I think this whole story's been about the Targaryens. I think it's been about, because even if you look back with Robert's Rebellion, I mean, really, the Targaryens were the rightful rulers. Rhaegar would have been a good prince. They should have just gotten rid of the king, which it sounds like in the books, Rhaegar was going to overthrow his father before Robert Baratheon decided to, just start his own rebellion. But I think ultimately this is a story about one man's burden who doesn't want it, shouldering it and doing the right thing, even though it costs him everything. So I feel like this is very much a Conan the Barbarian tale, like one lone person's destined to rule, but in the process he'll lose everything. So
yeah, it's definitely the most plausible one out there.
Now
aside the Night King.
Listen, this guy right here is one of my favorite characters. So there's a little bit of bias going into that, but I do think.
Does that make Ghost is going to be like, you know?
I don't know if Ghost. Listen,
keep or
listen. The image. I would love to see a Conan the Barbarian type ending where Jon Snow is sitting on the throne like this and Ghost is sitting beside him, and maybe Rhaegon is in the background like. Wah! That'd be pretty cool too. I'd like to see Ghost. Actually, I think Ghost is going to win. He's going to ride the dragon. It'll be Ghost and Rhaegon.
A direwolf on the back of a dragon? That is pretty rad.
I guess. No, but I don't know if Ghost. I don't know if Ghost's going to make it. We'll get to Ghost in a little bit, but there you go. So that is my prediction. I say Jon Snow. I'm going with the what I feel is the hero of the story. I do not think this is a self-sacrifice story. I think this is I think this is the weight. I think this is the weight of doing the right thing. Having to shoulder that, right? And so anyway, that's what I think the story's about. All right, so that moves us to our second category here. Our second question is about prophecies. So this show has been really big on prophecies, not as much as in the books. In the books, there's been a lot of prophecies in the books.
The book is just full of so many different things that you kind of just toss them aside because, like you said, there are just so many of them, and there's so many different interpretations of them that you can take on it. So, in the book, take the prophecies with a grain of salt. So,
and that's kind of, George has always been quoted as saying he likes prophecies in the aspect of always trying to turn them on their heads a little bit. Like, I think it was a Macbeth or something. There was an old prophecy of a guy. There was a king who had prophesied he'd die outside of a castle, so he always stayed away from castles, and he ended up being killed outside of an inn. That on the inn, the sign of the inn was carved a castle. So, it's kind of the whole, yes, there's always some truth in every prediction, in every prophecy, but, a lot of times they're self-fulfilling, and on top of that, they're not always what you think. So, but we thought there was 3 prophecies in particular that we want to touch base on that we thought would be kind of interesting to the story, and maybe we can glean a little bit of predictions of what's going to happen in this final season based on these prophecies. So, 2 of the prophecies involve Daenerys, and 1 prophecy involves Cersei. Now, Cersei's story, I think we all kind of know what's going to happen on this one, but we'll get to her in a second. Maybe this will be actually a good chance to talk about Cersei, or we could save that for we'll talk about this in the throne, the final battle. So the Cersei prophecy is called what's it called? The Valonqar.
Yeah.
So the Valonqar is High Valyrian for little brother. And so here's what the prophecy goes. Now, some of this you will notice from the show, if you've never read the books. The first part of this they predicted on the show, but they very purposely left out the back half of this prophecy. And when you hear it, you'll probably understand why. So the prophecy goes, "Gold shall be their crowns, and gold their shrouds. And when your tears have drowned you, the Valonqar shall wrap his hands around your pale white throat and choke the life from you." So Valonqar in Valyrian means little brother. Now, I can understand very much why they took this out of the show, because it's very much on the nose. And if you hear this prophecy, you're immediately going to go, oh, well, Tyrion's going to kill her. But fun fact, Jaime is actually her little brother. He was born, even though they're twins, he was born after her. So
he was born holding on to her leg.
Yeah, holding on to her leg. So, the first part of that prophecy came true in very sad fashion for 2 of the children in the show. Gold is their crown, which is, their hair, and gold is their shrouds, which means they all 3 will die. And sure enough, Joffrey, Tommen, and what is her name?
Marcella,
all 3 dead. So that has come to pass. So here's the interesting part. This was only the 3rd question that Cersei asked her. Cersei was allowed to ask 3 questions. The first one was, will I marry the prince? And she said, no, you'll marry the king. Yeah.
And then the second question was, will I be queen? And she said,
well, you will be queen for a time until a younger, more beautiful queen dethrones you.
Yes. And so that's what led to her,
And there was also some stuff about the bastards and, Robert, she would have 3 children, but the king would have 20 children or 10 children or something. So, okay, so let's break that down. So we obviously know that her kids are dead. That part of the prophecy has been fulfilled. The other part, so the younger queen that will dethrone her. Do we think? So a lot of people immediately assumed it's Daenerys, but at the same time, God, what's her name?
I thought it was going to be Marjorie.
Marjorie technically did dethrone her for a time.
Did she though?
Yeah, when she married Tommen and consummated the marriage, she became the new queen, and Cersei became the queen mother or whatever. She no longer was the queen, so she technically was dethroned. And so a lot of people think it's Daenerys, but if you take into the fact that technically Marjorie did dethrone her. Even though Cersei became queen supreme again, that's a little bit different than queen, than like the queen married to a king. Marjorie dethroned her, and the reason why that's important is if Marjorie's the queen in that, then it does leave open the option that Daenerys could die at Winterfell and not even make it back down to challenge Cersei.
Or Sansa's gonna come by,
or Sansa, or Sansa could challenge. So I guess my question is, what do you think this prophecy is? Do you think it's as obvious as it's Daenerys? We're gonna get a Daenerys Cersei showdown, or do you think it was Marjorie, or could it be Sansa?
I want to see something like more like Arya or something like that. Like, because Arya's got the list. She was gonna go to King's Landing and go kill Cersei, but then she had to pull of her family, that made her decide to go back to Winterfell, after she killed every single Frey. So I'm going to say, just to kind of go way out of left field, I'm just going to say it's going to be Arya that's going to be the one that dethrones her.
So you think Arya's going to be the queen? Well, I guess if Arya's the queen, that means, well then...
she's going to be sitting up there with the Night King.
Well, there you go. Or maybe Gendry. Maybe Gendry's wins it all.
Ooh, yeah.
All right. So you think it's going to be somebody besides?
About on a different segment, but
so I do think. Here's my thought. I think Marjorie is the queen that was going to dethrone her. I think because I do not think that Daenerys is going to dethrone Cersei.
You think somebody else will?
No, we'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, so that thing I do not think so. I think it was Marjorie was the original queen. I don't think it's Daenerys that was the queen. Okay, so the other parts that are important. So let's get to the other thing. So Cersei's final fate.
What was it?
When the tears have drowned you, the Valonqar shall wrap his hands around your pale white throat and choke the life from you. So a couple things here. Valonqar is brother. Now, apparently Valonqar, so words in Valyrian are genderless, so it technically could be brother or sister, little brother or little sister. But it clearly says, he shall wrap his hands around your throat. So, I mean, there's no other younger brothers in the show that I'm aware of. So, I mean, we're talking probably Tyrion or... So who do you think it'd be? Do you think it's Tyrion or do you think... So there's three...
I think if there's anybody that is going to kill Cersei, it would be Jaime.
I do too. Yeah. There is a possibility. What is there? And this is a pretty popular theory. I know we talked about it before it became popular. I'm not gonna say we coined it, but that Jaime could fall in the Battle of Winterfell, and Arya could wear his face to the capital and kill Cersei, technically fulfilling the prophecy because she would look up and see Jaime's face.
Huh? That wouldn't surprise me.
And that would be the kind of twist that I think George would love. Is that?
Yeah. I could see that. Her wearing Jaime's face. I didn't even think about that.
Now that would give you your win because there's a scenario where where Jon and Daenerys both die. Cersei thinks she's got it all wrapped up. Arya kills Cersei wearing her face or hit Jaime's face, and then she sits on the Iron Throne. Game over.
But she's wearing Cersei's face.
Oh my God! I didn't think about that.
Yeah. So that way she did act like there's like.
Oh my God, that is so fucked up. That is something George would do. Did we just uncover the ending of Game of Thrones?
It's like Arya just wearing Cersei's face.
What? I don't even know what I would do. What would you even do? So Sansa, let's say Sansa lives, and she just play this out. Sansa lives because you can't kill everybody. So Sansa lives, and she's the Warden of the North. Or she's in hiding, and the whole country's in hiding because everyone dies. The Night King, Cersei's literally the queen of almost nothing. Mm-hmm. But she thinks she's won, and Arya comes back with Jaime's face and kills her, and Arya takes the throne. Oh my God! We just figured it out. That's how it's going to end.
That would not surprise me. I mean, the thing is, though, like, it could go any way. So.
Oh my God. And that would fulfill the prophecy.
Yeah. Did it. We solved it.
Oh, God. I don't know how I'd feel about that. I would literally sit at my TV and stare for like 30 minutes.
I could see that.
Oof. That'd be a rough one. All right. Well, there's one theory. There's one. Okay. So. Do you think it's going to be Jaime or do you think it's going to be Arya? If you had to put your money right now, which is it going to be, Jaime or Arya?
I'm gonna say Arya.
I'm going to say it'd be more poetic to be Jaime, so I think I'd like to see it Jaime.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say it's Jaime. I mean, even though I really like our Arya theory, I think it's going to be Jaime.
Yeah, it's the most natural conclusion.
Yeah, it's the best. It's the best fit. Okay, so that's
Like
Cersei. So, but we both agree that Cersei is a goner.
Yeah.
She is going to die before this thing is over.
Yes, she must die.
Okay. Okay, so there's two with Daenerys, with Dany that we can go into. The first one we won't spend too much time on. I think it's just important because, okay, well, I'll read it. So there's one, so anybody who knows, Dany can't bear children after the blood magic, and she gave birth to a deformed dragon child. That's why her dragons are her children, because she just can't bear children anymore. So the same blood witch who cursed her gave her this prophecy. She said, when the sun rises in the west and sets in the east, when the seas go dry and the mountains blow in the wind like leaves, when your womb quickens again and you bear a living child, then he will return and not before. So I think the biggest thing about this prophecy, we're not going to break it down, but I think the biggest thing about this prophecy is that she is prophesying that sooner or later she will have another child. And I think this could play a huge factor into the fact that I think her and Jon may have a baby.
Yeah, I think if it's anything, John's gonna give her get his aunt pregnant and give birth to his cousin.
I will say this: if she has a baby, if she's pregnant and has a baby, that spells doom for at least one of them, possibly both of them. Mm-hmm. Because then this story could easily be turning into not a hero's burden, but a passing on of the torch, right? Now it could be like, we've got to save the kingdom for our son, who ends up becoming the new King Targaryen or whatever.
What did they name this child?
Oh, Ed. It'd be Ned. Ned Targaryen.
Ned Targaryen.
Ned Stark. That's what they call him. I'm sure he'll name him like Ned Rhaegar Targaryen or something. Yeah. Okay, and then finally, the last big prophecy that I did want to talk about here, and this is kind of juicy for details. So, is one that, let's see here. This was in the House of the Undying. They said to her, three heads has the dragon, three fires must you light, one for love, one for death, one to love. Or sorry, one for life, three fires must you light, one for life, one for death, and one to love. Three mounts must you ride, one to bed, one to dread, and one to love. Three treasons will you know, once for blood, once for gold, and once for love. So, you could easily...
There's a lot of love going around.
Yeah, a lot of these has happened, and clearly the two loved ones stand out. Obviously the fire where the dragons were first born, that is definitely the one for life. The fire where she burnt all the Khalasar, that is one for death. So we still have one fire that she has to burn for love. So we'll talk about that in a second. The three mounts she must ride. One to bed, I'm guessing is Drago. One to dread is Drogon.
Yes.
And then one for love. And then three treasons you will know. Once for blood, she was betrayed by the Blood Witch. Once for gold, she was betrayed by what's his name? Hey, wake up! Why are you falling asleep? We're talking Game of Thrones.
I'm not falling asleep. I was just trying to think.
You literally fell asleep on the show.
No, I didn't.
For like 3 seconds, you were like...
Because I was trying to think really hard on the thing that you were talking. I was trying to think. I had it in the back of my head.
Yeah, were you reading? Did you write it on the back of your eyelids?
And it went.
Well, okay. Once for betrayed for gold is her BFF. What's his name? Jormont.
Oh yeah, Jorah.
Jorah. So Jorah betrayed her for gold, and so now once for love. So really, what we're sitting here is we've got three. The three that are left are the three for love. She's got to light a fire for love. She has to mount for love, which I guess you could. Maybe that was crossed off in the season finale last year.
Yeah.
And so betrayed by love. So I guess the ones I want to focus on real quick is the betrayed by love and burned for love. So clearly it sounds like someone's going to die and she has to light something on fire for love, and she's going to be betrayed by love. So
She's already been burned, or she doesn't. She's unburnt. But
So I have a theory that I think somebody big is going to be turned to a White Walker. I hope it's not Jon, because if
Tyrion?
it could be Jorah. I mean, Jorah's been a huge love of
What
her
about
life.
Tyrion?
Huh?
You don't think it'd be Tyrion?
It could. I think the betrayed for love is Tyrion. I think Tyrion's going to betray her.
Yeah.
I think Tyrion's going to betray her for his family.
Could one person do more than one?
I think here's my thing. I think they're betrayed for love. I think he loves his brother, and I think he loves his family, and I think ultimately he might betray her for them. There's already been hints of that through this last season.
They've already captured Castle Rock.
Yeah. So I think betrayed for love. I definitely think that. I don't see Jon betraying Dany. I think the burning for love. Maybe it's one of her dragons. Maybe Drogon gets infected and she has to. Maybe I think it's somebody that she loves that dies that she has to light on fire so they don't turn to a White Walker. So whether it's Drogon or whether it's Jon or maybe it's Jorah, I think someone close to her, maybe even Melisandre. I definitely think someone close to her.
I was trying to think of her name. It was Melisandre. I don't know how though, because she's usually like so far behind, like away from the fighting.
I feel like if it's somebody for love, it's something big. It's either Jorah, Jon, or one of her dragons.
It could be Grey Worm. She loves Grey Worm.
Could be Drogon. I think let's talk about the dragons for a second. Do you think any of the dragons will survive?
I think one. I don't know which one.
I think Rhaegar. Not
the Night Kings.
I would say Rhaegar or Rogar or whatever, Rhaegal. But I don't know. It would be kind of poetic if he died as well. Like he died protecting Jon, or his father died. But I think it'd be Rhaegal. I just think Drogon is too badass. I just think I don't think he's gonna make it.
Oh, I don't know though. I mean, 2 against 1. I mean, I
guess there's a possibility if they have a kid that Drogon is the kid's like dragon and protector.
Yeah, I guess. But...
Okay, so we're both in agreement that there's another dragon that we think. I mean, obviously the Night King's dragon I think is gonna perish, but we think at least one other dragon will die.
Right. Yeah, there's gonna only be one dragon left.
I think there's a possibility there's no dragons, but they leave dragon eggs behind.
Yeah, we'd have to figure out, like, we'll have to find out how the dragon eggs work.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. All I know is that, there's definitely going to be some dragon death coming soon. So, all right. So that covers the prophecies. Do you think any of that prophecy is going to be the end of Daenerys, or you just think this is just suffering that she'll have to endure?
I think none of the prophecy is going to. I think people will find ways to make it so that they fulfill themselves, but
I gotcha.
I don't think any of them are really an actual driver for the show.
Okay, all right. So moving on, here we go. So we've talked about the dragons a little bit. Now let's get to speaking of dragons, let's get to the Battle of Winterfell. Now we know this is one of the biggest episodes on the show this season. Rumors have been that it's the third
never created.
Yeah, the biggest fight ever created. It was an 11-week shoot. It's just insane. I can't wait to watch this. The episode itself is an hour and 20 minutes. There's a lot of rumors that it's going to be the third episode, but I've also heard that those are not true, so we don't know when this is going to take place. But I do think that the Battle of Winterfell is going to be in the first half of the season. So what do we think is going to happen in the Winterfell? So obviously we've seen a little bit of the trailer. We know the Night King. We know there's a giant battle in Winterfell. I mean, forget the fact that there is the Night King on a dragon and he could easily just go and torch all of Winterfell. Let's assume that's not going to happen. What do we think is going to happen in this fight?
I think we're going to get at least like 2 major deaths of major, like either Brienne or like Pod or something. I mean,
I wouldn't call Pod a major death, but yeah, I get what you're saying. At this point, all the characters really are major characters. Okay, do we think any of the Starks are going to fall in this battle?
I think Bran is going to try to attempt to. He going to have to start going up against the Night King, and he's going to have to start using his powers. And we've already seen him try to do it, but with the Ravens, and the Night King kind of looking at him and makes
So,
him
so do
scatter
you
and
think this is going to be like a multi-tiered assault? So like you're going to have Bran trying to take on the Night King with Jon also taking on the Night King while dragons are fighting the Night King?
and I think that if there's any way to defeat the Night King, it's gonna have to be like a three-pronged attack. Like the Bran's gonna have to be trying to attack, through his mental thing, while Dany's attacking with a dragon, and then maybe taking out some of the White Walkers that, because as they show him, if you kill the White Walker, everything that it controls automatically dies.
Yeah.
So if they're smart,
Well,
and
the end game needs to be the White Walkers. Focus on the White Walkers. No, I agree.
yeah. So.
Okay. So we know that they stormed. We know that there's a giant battle. We've seen the trailers already of people fighting. Question is, well, I guess this is a two tier. Okay, take aside the fact that you think the Night King is going to be at the Iron Throne. Mm-hmm. Do we think that the Night King and his forces will be either defeated or mostly defeated at the Battle of Winterfell?
Mostly defeated.
So you think the Night King with his dragon will flee to maybe the south?
Yep, and try to build a new army.
That would be interesting. That'd be a good take. I have a hard. Here's my problem. If it is the third episode, I have a hard time believing that the series' big main bad is just defeated with 3 episodes still left to go.
Yeah. With the last 3 episodes are all over an hour long.
I do think there's in the fact that they've given us nothing. I mean, this is all so much speculation. I mean, we do know the Golden Company is on its way to fight with Cersei, but let's be honest. I mean, here's my thing. I'm with you. I do not think the Night King will be completely defeated. I do think the forces of Winterfell will prevail, but with heavy, heavy casualties and losses.
And Cersei's gonna find out and be all hee hee hee.
Yes, and by the time. Jon needs a reason to march on King's Landing. I don't think Dany will die. I do not think Jon will die. I do believe that Arya or Sansa, one of them, will die at the Battle of Winterfell. And I have a strong feeling that I feel like a main character is going to get turned into a white. I just feel it in my bones. I think it could be Sansa. Or maybe that's the burn, or maybe that's the burn someone you love, right? The prophecy.
Sansa's not one that would be going into the fight, so they would have to completely take.
You know what this could be? It could be Jorah Mormont. Imagine he gets turned to a white, and Dany has to light him on fire for love, because she loves him and she wants to put him out of his misery. I could see. I just see a main secondary character, somebody that we know. I just see I think there could be 1 or 2 people that we care about get turned into White Walkers.
Does Hodor come back? Hodor's got
He could. Oh, that'd be the worst if Hodor shows up. Oof.
And all he just says is hold the door.
Okay, so Brienne of Tarth. I think Brienne of Tarth is going to fall at the Battle of Winterfell. I think, and I love her and I hope she doesn't, but I think she's going to die protecting Sansa.
I could see that happening.
I think Tormund will go into a mad lover's rage and personally kill 30 White Walkers before he falls.
Yeah, and just cry and weep about the big babies that he could have had.
Side note: Tormund is my wife's favorite character on Game of Thrones.
If he's not at least in your top 5, there's something wrong with you.
I love Tormund, but I really think Tormund's going to fall at the Battle of Winterfell.
Oh, he came close at the end of the last season.
I think Jaime will survive. I was going to say this. I want to say anybody with a Valyrian steel sword is going to live, but I do think Bran's going to die. But I think Jaime's going to live because I believe Jaime's going to kill his sister, so we need Jaime alive. I do believe Arya's probably going to live. I just can't see. She's so much of a badass. I just can't see her actually dying, but, who knows.
Survivor.
But I do think Arya or Sansa. I don't think both of them come out of this alive. And we'll get to Bran in a little bit. I have thoughts about Bran, and so we'll talk about him in a little while. But, well, you know what? I'll say it too. I mean, my theories of Bran aside, I don't think Bran's going to survive this either. So maybe Bran will be the big Stark that does die.
I could see Bran dying. But he's supposed to be the new,
Well, we'll get into that into the big final. Let's talk more about Bran in the final revelation here. But all right, any other main characters? So we think Jon. I think Jon and Dany make it to either the final episode or the second to final episode.
Well, you know who we haven't talked about? There's Sam. Is there too?
Okay, I think Sam will live. Well, we're going to talk about Sam. Sam gets his own question, so we'll talk about Sam in a second.
What about the Onion Knight?
Davos. So
yeah.
if they have a kid, I think Davos will live. If they don't have a kid, Davos will die. Because I could see Davos being, he's been nothing but a
It's only been. It's not like it's a year.
Well, what I mean is like Davos has been he's on rewatch. He's been either a father figure or a surrogate father figure the entire show. So I could see a scenario where Jon and Dany both die, leave a child or 3 children behind, three heads of the dragon, and Davos becomes like a mentor to him, kind of like, at the end. So
he finally goes back. He takes the kid back to his wife that he hasn't gone and seen in 3 years.
The show's gonna end with all the 3 kids taking the black, so nobody will ever kill them, and they'll just be watching at the wall.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, I'll tell you what. Let's move on to the next part. If we think of any other characters, we'll. I mean, obviously, there's the lightning knight. He's gonna die. The fire.
Yeah.
So,
wait, didn't he? No, he's still alive.
Barrows or whatever. All right. So the next thing is okay. So this is kind of a part 2 to this. This is the battle for the throne. This is what I believe the final couple episodes are gonna be. I do think we're gonna get an episode about the Night King. At least not a full episode, but a good chunk of an episode, giving us more about the Night King himself, whether he's a Stark, whether he's a.
If anything, that would be in episode 1 or 2.
Yeah, you've got to fill the episodes, right? I'm with you. I think we're going to learn more about the Night King, but okay, yeah. The final battle for the throne, obviously is going to be between Cersei and the survivors. I don't know if we're going to have a big, massive. I don't know how this is going to go. I don't really. What is your thoughts on this? Because I don't have a ton of thoughts on this, but I'm not really sure.
So we know Euron is going over to Essos to get the Golden Company.
That's right. I forgot about Euron.
Theon he has his ship and 8 guys that are go for Yara.
I do think Theon is going to kill his uncle and redeem himself.
You think so?
I do.
That he's finally cast off the whole Reek thing and is.
I'm not saying he won't die. I just think that he might try one final act to save his sister. That's why she's purposely been left alive, and I think that's how that's going to end.
And then just go back, and then she could just go back to the Iron Island.
I think that's where you're right, where there has to be at least one dragon still left alive, is because I think the numbers are going to be heavily dwindled after the Fight of the Dead, and the only thing they're going to have is their dragon and maybe a few soldiers.
Yeah, and if Ghost survives, I mean, that's the only other big creature that you would have on your side.
Well, and then there's and Ghost. I think Ghost is gonna die. I hope not, but
no, Ghost is gonna meet up with what's his sister?
Nymeria.
Yeah, and they're gonna have a giant.
I hope I'm wrong. They've killed way too many direwolves. I want to see at least give us Ghost in epic fashion. Don't just murder him off.
Yeah.
Okay, so we get there. I think there's going to be a battle. I don't think it's going to be an epic battle. Now, I think there's a scenario. What do you think about the possibility that Jaime returns to his sister and he kills her because she's going to do what the Mad King originally was going to do, and she's going to blow up everybody in King's Landing with a wildfire?
I think the Night King is going to fly south and just
decimate everything.
The Golden Company and just start immediately just rezzing them up. So,
how do you think this is going to play out then? How do you think the battle? Do you think a few guys will be left? Do you think the war?
I think she's going to stay. She's going to hang out and stay back because, like I said, the Night King he's going to somehow eke it out. He's going to somehow either win or he's going to be able to get away, and he's going to have to go south to claim a new army. Okay. And Cersei is going to be so giddy that she's just gonna willingly,
let him in. So what do you think's gonna happen? What do you think's gonna happen with Dany? Because I don't think Dany's gonna live through this.
No, I don't think she will.
You know, one of the things I've shown is one of the things rewatching this again, binge watching it is how similar Danny is to Rob in a lot of ways. Everything works the way that they want it to. They really are undefeated. Everything's they have the massive advantage. They are the classic hero. They should win. We know what kind of story this is, and then mistakes pile up, and boom, dead.
Yeah, boom, you're getting married and you died.
Do you think? Oh God, if there's a wedding, I swear to God, if the final episode is Jon and Dany getting married, I don't think I can watch it.
Yeah,
I'll just turn it off and be like, and they lived happily ever after the end.
you don't want the final episode to be them like, just kind of like, and for the next 30 years, Jon and Dany stayed together and had 7 children.
What if the show ends with Jon and Dany actually winning together, getting married, and then like she's pregnant, and then like as they get married, she gives birth to triplets and it kills her.
I guess that could happen.
And he's left. There's Jon left all alone on the Iron Throne, the king that he never wanted. All the loves of his life dead, and now he's got these kids.
Schwarzenegger looking bored.
And Ghost is like, "Can I just eat these kids or what? What's up?" So I
don't think Dany's gonna make it.
I don't either, and I know everybody wants Dany and Jon to live happily ever after, but this is, in the famous words of Ramsay, if you think this has a happy ending, you haven't been paying attention.
Yeah, that's true. That's very, very, very true.
And I think Jon see, here's my thing. George R. R. Martin says it's a bittersweet ending, but it's a fitting ending. Dany just reclaiming the throne wouldn't, to me, be a fitting ending. I mean, it would be a fitting, I guess, but like it'd be too easy. It'd be too simple.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it makes much more sense for the guy who doesn't even know he's the king, the rightful king.
Yeah.
I mean, if you watch what he does in every episode, he always does what's right regardless of the cost, right? And that's who you really want to. This show has always rewarded those who try and do the right thing at all times. I mean, even Ned at the thing, he tried to do the right thing, and in some ways, we thought Ned failed, but he didn't. What was Ned's real story? Ned's real story was to protect Jon, and he did that.
Yeah, and I mean, and like you said, even though he did the right thing, he did everything he was supposed to do. It just, Joffrey was, a big piece of shit. And everything was already in line for him to survive. So,
yeah. Do we think Daenerys is gonna die from some weird betrayal, or do we think it's just gonna be like?
That's just what's annoying about this show, is that there's so many goddamn variables.
Yeah.
That. And as it's shown, it doesn't stick to any format or anything that we know that has been around for thousands of years of storytelling.
Well, I mean, think about it. It took until this last season to even realize that this story is about Jon Snow.
Yeah.
And even then, doesn't mean he's going to survive. I mean, this could be a Hamlet situation.
Yeah, it could be like, he's going to get killed a second time now, so you get to, deal with that.
Yeah, he's going to get poisoned, not know it, sit on the Iron Throne, become king, and then drop dead. Right? I'd be like, God damn it. All right, so let's get to the last couple, since we're already running long, and I know it's late over there. You've already fallen asleep 3 times on the show. So the last 3 we have are actually pretty quick ones. So we got 2 quick ones, and then one we'll finish up on. So real fast, is Sam writing the song? Does he write the Song of Fire and Ice? And are we watching his retelling of this story?
His narration.
Yeah.
Of the. It could very well be. I mean, although I don't know how well Sam is doing with the whole Maesters Guild.
Well, but I mean, this has become a popular theory ever since his time at the Citadel, and the lamps are the same burning sun that we see in the opening title.
Mm-hmm.
And the Maester that was training him talks about writing biographies, and if you've got to have a name for a story that everybody wants to read, it's got to be catchy. And he's like, I'd like something poetic.
Yeah, a Song of Fire and Ice. So
and Sam is clearly George's avatar in this world. So,
yes.
Okay, do we think? So I'm going to say yes. I think this whole show ends with cut to black, and then.
Well, I mean, the Maesters did say that no matter what, the Citadel has survived for thousands of years or whatever, and they'll just continue doing what they do, and maybe Sam just everything happens and all the fallout happens, and Sam goes back.
I think the end of the show is it cuts to black after whatever happens, and then
just Sam finishing dipping quill.
No, years later it could be. We could get the Hobbit ending. But I think years later, you're going to see an older, whatever king or queen is left from whoever Jon and Dany's kid is, closing a book, reading to his own son or daughter, or her son or daughter, closing the book, and on the book it says A Song of Fire and Ice by Samwell Tarly. Boom.
Dude,
boom.
I don't know if I could deal with that. It's very plaughable. I mean,
so you're saying you don't want the
no,
this
I don't
is all
think
a story?
I don't think that's how it's going to end. I think it's a very, very good
or it could just be
observation based off of what they've said throughout the whole series.
Or it could just be a Hobbit ending where Samwell Tarly's writing the last picture is him finishing his, like you said, the quill, finishing his story. But I think Sam and Gilly and little Sam they'll all live.
Yeah, they'll go back. Sam will find out he's the only Tarly left.
Go back with his Heartsbane. Okay, cool. And then next, real fast, the Hound versus the Mountain. 1, will it happen? I'm going to say yes.
That is going to happen.
2,
there's going to be thunderclaps.
So 2 is...
But that means he has survived the Battle of Winterfell.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I think the Hound will survive the Battle of Winterfell, and he will go south with everyone else just to finally fight his brother. I do think... Okay, final question with this is, who wins? The Hound, the Mountain, or they both die?
I think the Hound. I think he's got too much built-up anger.
I think the Hound lives, and I think he, roams the world as, a lost Ronin.
Yeah, he's just gonna, he has no purpose now.
Well, I think his purpose is to, he's kind of gone on this hero's journey where he wants to right the wrongs in his life, right? So I think he could go around and kind of become a protector knight of the realm. But more than likely, they'll probably both just die. So they'll die killing each other, which would also be fitting. Okay, and then lastly, number 7, the final reveal, the big revelation. The showrunners have said that when they talked to George, there was, I think, 3 major revelations. One was Jon Snow being Aegon Targaryen. A second one was Hodor. When you found out that Bran could affect time and space and affect, and Hodor was the whole Hodor reveal. So what do you think? They said there is one more earth-shattering, game-changing revelation. What I'm going to give you mine after you give me yours. Do you have one? And what do you think
revelation, it is? Which means that it's not like a big, huge direct action. It is more of a pulling apart the curtain and letting you see behind the scenes.
The Hodor thing was kind of always there. We just didn't have access to all the information. So I believe it'll be the same thing. If you don't have one, we can just go with mine that we've sported on this show many times.
Give me yours, and I'll try to think about
my big revelation. And I have things to back up my claim. My big revelation is that Bran is the Lord of Light.
Ooh.
So in this show, it's done a lot. It's very heavy emphasis on everybody who's come back, which is only 2 people, but both of them saying that there's nothing there. There's no anything. The Lord of Light, they've gone into lengths of saying how the gods whisper to people. And one of the things that Ned, when Bran went into the past and interacted with Ned and other people, is they felt like they heard whispers. So I believe that they've set this up that the gods aren't actually gods, but they're very powerful green walkers who can affect time and space. They can go into the past, they can go into the future, and they can do these things, right? So to me, the Lord of Light, nothing in this show, there are magical elements, but there's no godly elements in this show, right? Mm-hmm. Everything in this world is very grounded. Now, granted, like I said, there's magic, but magic exists in this world, not in the afterlife. And so the fact that there's a weird Lord of Light lurking around, I always thought that they were going to answer this. And here's my thing with why I think Bran is the Lord of Light. Number one, every action the Lord of Light has everything the Lord of Light does, all is about leading people to Winterfell, about the light and the darkness, about the long night. Everything that the Lord of Light preaches is always about the coming darkness and the long night, right?
Yes.
So, here's why I think this could happen. Bran has already proven he can interact with the warwort. He can interact with the objects of the trees, and he can in see time and space. He's already shown that he's powerful enough to go back into the past and affect it in a way that can drive people mad. My theory is that Bran at some point is going to be lit on fire, and before he dies, he's going to shoot his consciousness through the flames, and it's going to past, present. Everything is about seeing in the flames, right? Mm-hmm. So when people see into the flames, what do they see? They see things about the Night King. I believe that Bran is linked with the Night King telepathically. Like, when he touched him, they have a connection, and then when he's lit on fire, his thoughts shoot out, and that's why people can see his thoughts in the fire and the Night King's thoughts in the fire. And as far as the people that are brought back, think about the people that are brought back. Who have been brought back? Beric the Thunder Knight, right? He was brought back 6 times. Why? Who knows? But because he was brought back, Melisandre was able to realize that you could bring people back. And because of Melisandre finding that out, she was able to bring Jon Snow back, who is one of the key central figures of this whole thing.
Yeah.
Number one. Okay, so number 2, Jojen, the guy who helped Bran, who was also a warg and a Green Walker, helped Bran get to the Three-Eyed Raven. He said there was a vision where he was starting to lose it, and he was just kind of going crazy. And Bran said, he goes, "Oh, I see the tree." And Bran's like, "Oh, are you there? Are we at the end?" And he started laughing. He's like, "No, we're not at the end." He's like, "Well, how will I know?" And he goes, "Oh, you'll know." And as he's looking, his arm is completely on fire.
Yeah, I forgot about that scene.
And on top of it, every time so at the end, when Bran has the final vision about Jon, what is he doing? Before they show up, he's staring into the fire.
Yeah.
And think about it. There's no visions about anything past Winterfell, past the battle. Every single thing that Melisandre saw was the battle at Winterfell. All this stuff is leading up to this battle at Winterfell. Now, Bran is killed. His consciousness will shoot into the future. It'll shoot into the past, but it won't go past that moment, if that makes sense. The other thing that could make sense is if they are being... If they're yelling about... If people are trying to kill the White Walkers with fire and Bran gets caught up in the fire... One of the things that could be screamed is burn them all. Well, if he's shooting his consciousness into the past at all, who else was driven mad like Hodor?
Mad King and makes him murder his and father.
Because think about it. Everything up into the Mad King, he was a normal king up until all of a sudden out of nowhere he just went mad. And he became obsessed with lighting things on fire. And in his dying days he just said burn them all. He kept repeating burn them all, burn them all. What if he accidentally made the Mad King go crazy, which started this whole thing in the first place?
That's messed up, man. That's a very good one.
I think Bran is the Lord of Light.
That one has the highest probability of happening. I could see that happening.
So there you go, everybody. That is my theory. And I'll tell you this:
I support that theory, Brian.
If you rewatch the show with the idea that Bran is the Night King, it literally just seems like, oh, how did I not know this before? There's so much that fits in. But the one thing where I jumped off the couch was like, I knew it, as I forgot about it, is when Jojen's arm was on fire, and he says, "How will you know the end?" He goes, "Oh, you'll know when it's the end," and his whole arm is on fire.
Ugh.
Bran is the Night King, people. Or the Night King. Bran is the Lord of Light.
You solved it.
Boom. I think that's it. So did you have anything else? Anything that you think would be the big reveal?
I have nothing else. I am just excited to watch the show.
Yes.
And see what happens. I'm literally falling apart at the seams just waiting for this to happen.
I'm so nervous, but I'm so excited at the same time.
So. I've never been so nervous for a freaking show before. But damn it,
Yeah, I know. I'm excited. I get to experience with my wife. She's all caught up, so we get to watch it together. We're gonna have a Game of Thrones party to do a kickoff and then the grand finale. So we'll see. I'm too scared to have a party at the Battle of Winterfell because I don't want us all here like sobbing and holding each other.
Yeah,
but we'll see. Yeah, but anyway, we'd love to hear you guys' theories. We'd love to hear if you guys think that I am out of my mind or I am a genius with my Lord of Light theory, and honestly about everything on the subject. And I'm sure there's something we talked about. If you're like, why did you talk about hot pie? Well, there's not time for everybody. So we didn't even talk about Gendry. I think Gendry lives. But if there's somebody that we forgot to talk about that you want our opinion on, hit us up in the comments, and we'd love to hear what you think. And like I said earlier, we are going to be doing a show breakdown every single week after Game of Thrones, and we cannot wait for it. We're so excited.
There will be more than enough opportunities for us to talk about all the people that we forgot about.
Yes. But it is late, and we have already taken up enough of everyone's time. So thank you for joining us. Get ready. Game of Thrones is coming. Enjoy it. And until
April 14th.
Until April 14th, you guys and gals, stay awesome.
And stay nerdy, everyone.
Valamogoris!